If you want to make a new meal, something you haven't tried before, well, your instinct is likely to be to whip out your phone and hunt down a recipe. And let's face it, probably get some generated slop that'll end up looking like a meal from Adibu.
All those spicy peppers on the pizza? What a rascal you are!
If it was 2008 though, what would you do? If you were rich enough to own a capable smartphone like an iPhone 3G, you still wouldn't really have been able to look anything up on it. Mobile web browsing just wasn't there yet. You could probably find something on your computer, but that's hardly a convenient thing to have in your kitchen, is it? Enter Cooking Guide. This little situation promises to not only help you pick out a meal to have, but to tell you how to make it from scratch. At least the meal itself, not the universe that you need to make first. In certain regions, it even came bundled with a unique lime green DS Lite, not unlike the one I'm using in fact. Now tell me, have a good look at this guy with his Mario moustache and tell me what sort of voice you'd give him. Would it be this one?
Is this speed suitable for you?
Sure, it's not a bad voice to listen to, just a bit jarring to see it coming from that character.
You're ready to begin making tasty dishes from around the globe.
It's quite rare for a DS game to have speech like this. Sure, it's crunchy, massively compressed and very heavy on the bass, but the entire programme is fully narrated, with each recipe having full vocal and written instructions and photos. It's comprehensive, I'll give him that. When you start the software, I hesitate to call it a game, you're given the option to find recipes by ingredient, requirement, keyword, or using the world map. Alternatively, you can just see the whole list if you want. The world map is almost an edutainment game itself. I'm not sure I realised where some of these foods originated. Bit weird that they have lasagna twice, both the authentic Italian lasagna and the British knockoff version. It is nice to see that my country's cuisine is represented here, in all its beige, gravy-laden glory. There are recipes from all over the world, and while it does lean a bit Eurocentric, there's still a decent variety on offer. If you're wondering what those little red crosses are about, you have the option of avoiding certain ingredients, and any meal that includes those will either be marked with a red cross, or just won't show up at all. Anyway, to fully assess how edutational this programme is, how about we make a whole meal, start to finish, entirely using Cooking Guide as our, guide. We're going to have a go at minestrone soup, which I've picked because it looks like it runs the gamut in terms of game functionality, and it's easy and cheap. Before we can make soup, we need to go shopping, and for that we can use the inbuilt shopping list. And yes, I really did wander around Aldi with my DS in hand. I thought it would look a little more impressive, alright? Okay, that's the shopping done, time to get cooking. Right, we've got all our ingredients. I have the software. We're going to make a minestrone. I don't know if I made that clear before. Hopefully I did. But here we are, we're ready to go. I've got, well, I've been shopping, as you saw. Got some stuff. So, we're going to try and follow this recipe by the letter. I mean, it's not going to be identical, simply because there was some stuff that I just couldn't get. So, like the parmesan and a few other bits. So I've had to substitute some items, but hopefully it'll be close enough and we'll still get a good idea of what the software can do. If I have half an onion, does it mean half of one of these? Or half of the thing that's twice the size of that? I'm going to go with that one. When the microphone icon is displayed, say the words inside quotation marks to activate the controls. Continue. Oh, can't do it now. Okay. A chopping board and a sharp kitchen knife. Got it. Whoa, 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 whoa. No! Maybe I shouldn't make loud noises while the thing is open.
Right, let's get started.
Because it's just recognised. Apparently I said go back. I did not say go back. I said got it. Onion. Kitchen knife, chopping board. Continue!
Okay, start by peeling the onion.
Well, it wants half an onion, so I'll do that first. Right down the middle. That's not going to end badly, is it?
The first step is to chop the vegetables for the soup. You'll need a chopping board and a sharp kitchen knife.
It does seem to...
Okay, start by peeling the onion.
I'm starting to think the voice recognition on this isn't very good. Right, peel the onion.
Okay, chop the peeled onion into 1 centimetre square pieces.
Dude, slow down. I didn't say continue. I'm not gonna say.
Okay.
No!
Next, peel the carrot.
Go back. Go back. When I want it to go back, it doesn't go back.
Okay, chop the peeled onion into 1 centimetre square pieces.
Okay, chop. So we're dicing the onion.
What was that?
I'm not talking to you.
Okay, next, peel the carrot. Okay, chop the peeled onion into 1 centimetre square pieces. Okay, start peeling the onion.
I'm literally saying nothing and it keeps going back and forth. I think it recognised my cat's feeder as an instruction.
First step is to chop the vegetables for the soup.
I would like to turn the voice recognition off, but
Chop the peeled onion into 1 centimetre square pieces.
that would involve putting my sticky onion fingers all over my DS. I don't want to do that. I can see how this would be frustrating if you were using it in earnest and it just picks up every little sound as some sort of instruction. I recognise that it's a bit different for me right now because I'm
Chop the peeled onion into 1 centimetre square pieces.
recording a video and talking
Okay, next, peel the carrot.
not in that direction. It's quite precise. Some of the recipes are kind of precise, like this one. It says chop the carrot into
Okay, chop the peeled carrot into 8mm cubes.
8mm cubes. I'm not measuring the cubes. This is how I cook. Completely unprepared, like. Let's get the stock. That can be dissolving away. I'm not going to pretend that this is like MasterChef or anything, so don't expect miracles here, viewers.
Okay,
Teach me a more efficient way of cutting carrot into little cubes.
next, separate the stalks and leaves of the spinach. Cut the stalks into 1 centimetre lengths.
Oh dang, I've got to do stalks and things, oh crap. Yeah, my frozen spinach is
Okay, chop the
suboptimal.
spinach leaves.
Go back.
Okay, chop the spinach leaves into pieces 1 centimetre square in size.
Pretty sure I said go back, not repeat.
Then chop the courgette into chunks roughly 8mm square.
You've got a funny way of saying courgette, DS Chef.
Okay, chop the cabbage into 1 centimetre square pieces.
I deserve that. It was me chopping celery, you Egypt.
What was that? Okay, chop the celery into 8mm square pieces.
Literally didn't say anything. I've been silent listening.
Cut off the stem of the courgette and discard it.
This is my spinach. That's not getting separated. Next. Continue. Stressing me out a little bit, this. Trying to just make a nice little video here, and it's just this stupid little program that won't shut up.
Peel each time
Honestly.
by first briefly.
Continue.
Okay, next, peel the potato.
Dude, listen to what I'm saying. Continue.
Sorry.
Right, two things. One, I've disabled the voice input. To do so, you have to go to settings and then disable it. You can't just do it from the recipe. Slightly annoying, but it does mean that it's not going to keep jumping back and forth while I'm trying to talk and, or not talk, as the case may be. Second, this is a really good feature because I don't know I mean, there's other edutainment programs like things like Encarta and other sort of encyclopedia software, where they'll have things called hot words. I've come across this in previous edutainment games as well that we've played on the channel, I think. Maybe? I can't remember now. And this does a similar thing, so it's not necessarily hot words, because naturally you can't touch it. But if you press more details while there's some red text, then it will give you, well, more details.
Here's how to blanch and peel tomatoes by immersing them in boiling water. First, fill a bowl with cold or iced water to cool the tomatoes after they've been blanched.
See, that's really useful, and for a cooking novice like myself, it gives you several steps, so it's not just like this one step and then you move on. It goes through the whole process of blanching, so it's very, very useful. But let's see how effective it is. Now, one thing I don't think it does is do more details on more details. So, if you want tips on how to cut the stem area out of the tomato, then you're a bit beggared. Which is a shame, because it does feel like something I could use a tip on. So, remove once the skin around the cross-shaped cut starts to peel away. We'll do all three, because we've got the big enough saucepan. There we go. Should it just peel away on its own? Is that what I'm looking for? Stay with me, tomato. Don't roll over. I need to see the cross. I need to see the cross in your bum. Oh. There's peelage. There's peelage. Alright, what do I do?
To ensure that the tomatoes do not poach, immerse them in a bowl of cold water to cool.
Alright. Immerse. My tomatoes are now blanched. Right, so more details.
Cut the tomatoes horizontally in half and use the end of a spoon to scoop out the seeds. Whether or not you need to remove the seeds will depend on the recipe.
Oh, that's a faff. Okay, but I've been asked to follow this recipe to a T, so there's going to be nothing left. The amount of material that these tomatoes are leaving behind as well. I'm starting to think I should have just got one big tomato and done that. Interesting thing, it does say on there, heat 2 some sort of spoon. Now, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what a teaspoon and a tablespoon are, case in point. So it actually tells you 15 millilitres, which is very useful. So we're going to do that. Yeah. Now, the question is, does that scale? Because you can tell it how many servings you want to do, and I've picked 2 servings. So yes, it does scale 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Cool. The music changes in a similar way to when you ride Yoshi on Super Mario World. It's got some percussion. Right.
Add the chopped onion and carrot to the saucepan.
Oh, of course. It wants it all separate, doesn't it? This is what my vegetables look like. Okay. Preparing to fry the vegetables. I have somewhat successfully separated them. Right, so we've heated the thing.
Add the chopped onion and carrot to the saucepan.
Hope it doesn't spit at me. Okay, I think I've got the majority of the celery. Go, DS Chef, go.
Add the stock to the fried vegetables.
The stock is over here. Don't explode on me. Stocky.
Once the stock comes to the boil, skim off any foam that forms on the surface.
Alright, how do you want me to do that?
The foam that forms on the surface when ingredients are simmered is made up of impurities released during cooking and can spoil the flavour of a dish.
I will prepare a soup ladle. Soup. Staff of Soup Production +1. Now, it's done it again. it says add the courgette, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe I need to separate out the courgette. But then it says add everything else, so why not just put it in one step, chuck everything else in? Not that much foam though. Can I skim it with this? Skim. Bringing vegetables with it. It's not really especially easy. Okay, 10 minutes, and we've got the inbuilt timer function. Hit it. So you can't see the DS now. It's kind of the important part. So, while I'm waiting for this to do its thing, the process... See, it's very slick, is this software. It's very well put together. You can tell that it has been thought about. I just feel as though... like, I get the sense that the people who tested it were people who either knew how to cook or knew the recipes. And they didn't test edge cases like me, for instance. So there are details missing from this that like, I don't know, maybe an extra detail option or something, just to make sure you don't miss anything, like the whole keep the veg separate after you've chopped it. That might seem obvious to most people, but for me, the way I cook, perhaps a bit more haphazard than most, I've just shoved them all into the same dish because I didn't realise that they were supposed to be separate. Because that's not how I generally make things. So, from that perspective, it does leave a little to be desired. And of course the voice control is absolutely dire. The fact that it thought I was saying things that I wasn't, thought that I was saying things when I wasn't saying anything at all, thought that when I did say something it occasionally got it wrong, and it thought I'd said the wrong thing, and it was just at best unreliable. Again, I don't know what sort of voices it was trained on, clearly not mine. I've got I've got an accent that this wasn't tested with, obviously. Or if it was tested with, then it wasn't addressed, you know? So, it's a bit of a challenge using your cooking guide as it's intended, and if you are cooking and you've not got the voice control on, then you've got to keep going over and pressing the thing, and it's just a bit of a faff. So you almost want, well, the fact is that this has been solved. This is a solved problem, and if I was to use my phone, well, I've got it in my pocket, it's there, it's got all the steps on it, and I can just go through them at my own pace. I don't have my phone on my person right now, obviously, because otherwise I would be showing you, but I can go through it at my own pace. I can look at all of the ingredients, tick them off. I mean, I can do that in this, but it's not quite the same. And all of the steps are on the same page, so I'm not going between pages to see them. Now, in terms of user interface design and just the design of the thing in general, this is great. And if I had an app that looked like this but performed something like Mealy, which is what I use for my recipes normally, I'd be in love with it. It'd be fantastic. As it stands, this, well, it seems a bit pointless to criticise it at this late stage, because it's, you know, getting on for like over 15 years old, getting on for 20, so it's already been solved. Nevertheless, well, I don't know, I feel like I'm still going to get a soup out of it, and to be honest, the photo isn't like massively dissimilar to what I'm looking at here. Granted, it's a very low resolution photo, it's maybe 150 pixels tall and a lot less wide, but it gives me an idea of what I should be looking for, and that in the saucepan looks like what I've got in my pan here, so that's good. And the fact that it's got the timer built in and it's got the extra details, that's really useful. There's certain things that it does really well and certain things that could stand to be improved. But never mind, like I say, it's a very, very old game. As edutainment, I think there's something to be said for it, and I think if you did add the sort of additional details, then you could have a neat little cooking learning simulator thing. And I don't even think something like that exists, not in this sort of form. Not today. And if it does, then I would gladly be corrected. This is not a video that I've done a ton of research for, so there may be something out there, I'm just not aware of it. Anyway, 4 more minutes and then we can move on to whatever step 12 is. Now, here's the other thing. I know it's going to sound like ticking, it's going to be annoying. I don't know if you can really see, but we're on step 11 now, except we're not on step 11, we're on step 24 of 28. So, there are steps within the steps. I know that we've gone through the extra details, like the more details option, and then there is one here, in fact. And that adds more steps if you need them. But those are just the standard steps, so you're expecting 12 steps with this recipe, and in reality it's 28 steps, because some of the steps have multiple parts to them. And that's not really... You're setting yourself up for false expectations there when you're expecting a recipe to maybe not be quite as long to make as you thought it would be. For example, this has taken me, well, a lot longer than I thought it would. I was expecting it to be done and have it for lunch, but it is no longer lunchtime. So. See, I would like to check what the next step is now, but I'm worried that it's going to knock the timer off. I suppose there's only one way to find out, but I'd rather not find out while I'm actively trying to make something here. It's going to be a bit of a thinner strony, this. It's very watery. I don't know if it's supposed to be watery. That's my blob of frozen spinach. Yeah! Just mix that round. That's the other thing, it tells you to separate the stalks and the leaves, but you're adding them at the same time, so a bit of why would not go amiss in this software, I think. Salt and pepper to taste. Never salt from can to pan. The hand should be the middleman. I don't know what the taste is. I mean, I like things to be salty. I'm not going to taste it and then put the spoon back, that's bad hygiene. See, it's got to taste in green, but there's no green hot word, so... You can go to terminology and stuff, but I don't have time for that, I'm making soup. So the final step, I will put something on screen that you can actually see, because I don't think the DS is very visible, is... You get congratulated by the DS chef. And then you get to stamp. So I'll do a red stamp because it's soup. And you get to stamp the day. Made it! Yay! And now, because I used the kitchen timer function, I'm now unlocked to the Game & Watch title, Chef. Which is interesting because I did a little research into this and I didn't actually realise it was in this version. There's various different versions of Cooking Guide, and the rest of the series, there was another game for the DS that has the chef game in, and I didn't realise that this also did. So, yeah, you can play chef now. Cool. Anyway, that was that. We've made a soup successfully using Cooking Guide. And that is that. So that was Cooking Guide. Anyone who was around before 2008 can probably see the value in this programme. Indeed, I can kind of see the value in it now. It's got everything you need built in, and the DS's compact size makes it ideal to have around when you're in the kitchen. I'm not the only person to have thought this. You only need to look at software like Mealy, which is what I currently use for my recipes and meal planning, and which is functionally very similar to Cooking Guide. The user interface isn't quite as nice, and you don't get a world map, or speech, or the option to yell at it when you want to move on a step. But my point is that Cooking Guide's format and presentation is still useful, and if you could produce something like this today, it'd probably find an audience. And that was the only game in the series to have made it to the UK. However, there were actually 5 other Cooking Guide games, dang it, I'm calling them games, whatever, most of which were exclusive to Japan.
しゃべる DS お料理ナビこんにちは春の旬の魚といえば何でしょう
Sorry, I've tried Japanese pronunciation before and it's a skill that eludes me. They're essentially the same deal but in Japanese and with different recipes, so there's not much to add. There was one other English language game called America's Test Kitchen Let's Get Cooking, named after the US TV show which I'd never heard of before researching this game. It's a lot more similar than I was expecting, except this time the chef sounds like the wizard from Lego Creator.
Choose the cooks and the head chef.
It doesn't have the nice world map recipe picker, but otherwise it's virtually identical. You can even send recipes over DS Download Play, which goes hand in hand with its whole team effort presentation. The main reason I wanted to look at Cooking Guide is because it's a relic, and pretty much obsolete in ways that most edutainment games aren't. And I don't just mean because it was made for an older system. Fundamentally, there's not much you can do with Cooking Guide that can't just as easily be achieved by visiting your favourite food blog and scrolling through the writer's entire life story. In that sense, it takes me back to a time when we were just starting to work out that actually, it's cool that you can have all this stuff on a machine that fits in your pocket. In a similar sense, I remember a time before we could easily access YouTube wherever we were, and I'd transfer my favourite videos to my DS in glorious bitrate vision. And you thought 360p was bad. Despite all that, I've found genuine enjoyment in this little cartridge. And yes, I've got Mealy and it works really well, but it's not got a world map or a colourful chunky user interface. And it's got a huge gaping hole where a weirdly baritone talking cartoon chef should be. In a similar sense, I remember a time before we could easily access YouTube wherever I can't say this sentence.